Hello children, today we will start with the next topic of the Indian economy on the eve of independence, that is industrial sector. As we all know that industries are considered as the backbone of the economic development of a country because they help in modernizing and developing other sectors like primary and tertiary sector. Before we start with the industrial sector during British rule, we need to know that even before the British rule or pre-British rule, more than 75% of the population was engaged in agriculture. That means India was an agriculture-dominated country, and less than 25% engaged in secondary and tertiary sector. India was not having capital goods industries or heavy industries even during pre-British rule, but its indigenous handicraft industries were very world famous. The reasons were fine quality goods produced first, and second, high standard of craftsmanship. These industries, that is handicraft industries, were supported by princely courts. Or before the Britishers, India was ruled by Rajas, Maharajas, Nawabs, etc. And they encouraged and enhanced the handicraft industries, and also helped the indigenous industries to become famous worldwide. They encouraged international trade. And these industries were cotton textile industry, jute textile, metal works, precious stonework, etc. But India could not help develop a sound industrial base under the British rule. The reasons were: first, deindustrialization or decline of handicraft industry. Second, adverse effects of decline of handicraft industry. Third, lack of capital goods industry. Low contribution of GDP. And the fifth one, limited role of public sector. Now we will be doing all the 5 points in detail. We'll start with deindustrialization. Deindustrialization means decline or reduce of industrial activities or capacity in a region or economy. The word deindustrialization is opposite of industrialization. Industrialization means development, and deindustrialization means decline of the industrial growth. So, the first deindustrialization had two-fold motives. The first one is the Britishers need raw materials from India at cheap rates to be used by the upcoming modern industries in Britain, and second, to sell finished products of Britain in Indian market at higher price. Now, before we talk about these two, let us know that during the British rule in India, it collided with the Industrial Revolution in Britain. So whatever they did was to encourage and enhance their industries. So for this, they use discriminatory tariff policies. So what is discriminatory tariff policy? It means they charged heavy duties on the export of finished handicraft goods and were tax-free for the import of Britain-made goods. On the other hand, the raw materials were exported from India free of cost. So this high partiality or discriminatory tariff policy also degraded our industrial sector. Next is adverse effect of decline of handicraft industries. When the effects were high level of unemployment, the decline of the indigenous means the native industries, created not only massive unemployment but also new demand in the Indian consumer market, that is, the market was flooded with foreign goods. The artisans were forced to take up agriculture for their livelihood. This created burden on agricultural sector. Import of finished goods, that is, Indian goods, could not withstand the foreign competition of machine-made goods, and this encouraged the import of cheap manufactured goods from Britain. Now, why I'm saying it is cheap manufacture? The man-made goods were expensive because the cost of production was very high and it was time consuming. It was labor intensive and time consuming. So here machine-made goods were faster, uniform, better quality, and it was just capital. Once they invest in the capital or the setup of machine, the production gave, the cost of production was less, so they were cheaper than the handmade goods. The third is lack of capital goods industry. Capital goods industries refer to those industries which can produce machine tools which are in turn used for producing articles for current consumption. Example like industrial machineries, construction and mining equipments, textile in machineries, etc. During British rule, there was hardly any capital goods industries to promote further industrialization in India. The British rulers did not pay any attention for their promotion, as they were always wanted Indians to be dependent on Britain. So the Indian industries were not taken care by the Britishers. They wanted that Indians should be dependent on their products manufactured in Britain. The fourth is low contribution of GDP. GDP, the gross domestic product. The growth rate of newly industrial sector and its contribution to the GDP remained very low. Because we know that if there is no growth of industrial sector, that means the GDP of this sector will also be low. The next point and the last is limited role of public sector. The public sector remained confined to the railways, power generation, communication, ports, and some other departmental undertaking. That's it. So we all these 5 points we need to remember, as these are the main reasons, or these were the main reasons of low economic development during British rule, industrial development during British rule. The credit of beginning of Iron and Steel Company during British rule goes to Jamshedji Tata, and the company was known as TISCO, that is Tata Iron and Steel Company, and it incorporated in 1907 and established its first plant in Jamshedpur and started producing iron in 1912. So it's established in 1907 and started producing in 1912. Few other industries which came up after World War II were cement industry, sugar mill, paper mills, etc. So these are the points, and this topic is very important topic, and complete this notes. So till then we'll come with a new video on the next topic, foreign trade. Take care and be happy.